Hello, good morning, students. Hope you are safe and secure in your houses. Up till now, we have done 5 chapters in social science. Today, we'll start with the 6th chapter. It is related with the administrative system and architecture during the medieval age. We have already learned in our 4th chapter related to the Rajput age. We will see here how was the administration architecture during the Rajput age. Kasam Mir's Lok Dairo was organized in the village square and the entire village had gathered there at night. Small children had already taken their positions in the front row. Patriotic songs were sung at the Lok Dairo along with folk songs. Utsav like the Palya recitals were very much. The next day, he asked his grandfather, what does Palya mean? His grandfather told him that a Palya is a memorial commemorating. What do we mean by the word commemorating? That means to remember a person in respect of his work done. Whatever work he has done, we remember him. And a memorial is constructed to remember him. It is a tribute to the heroes. It is a tribute to martyrs who have sacrificed their lives while protecting and ensuring the welfare of the people. These Palyas are worshipped during festivals and songs are sung as homage to these martyrs. This is the culture of our country. Children, you might have seen when any of our army officer or any of the army personnel passes away, due respect, national respect is paid to him. The national anthem is sung and he is taken in the box with great respect. Utsav and his friends requested his grandfather, please enlighten us about the culture of our country. Wait, said Grandpa. He went in and came back with some pictures. He then asked Utsav, can you see temples in these pictures? It seems as if these stones have their own stories to narrate. Isn't it? Today, I shall tell you about the civilization and culture of the Rajput age. Now, what was the administrative system during the Rajput age? During the Rajput era, India was not ruled over by any one king. India was divided into big and small states, and the extent of each kingdom depended on the king's military prowess, military power. You have been briefed about the Rajput kings and dynasties in the previous chapter. So, in our previous chapter, that is in chapter number 4, we have learned about the various dynasties which were ruling in India. It was the Cholas, the Sher, the Gohils, the Pala, the Sen, the Pratiharas, the Rashtrakutas. They were the different dynasties which ruled over India that we have already learned in our chapter number 4. In this chapter, you will learn about the administrative system, literature, architecture, and external invasions during that time. Our first is, what was the administrative system prevailing during the Rajput age? During the Rajput era, India was not ruled over by one king, as we have learned, but there were different dynasties. So after the 7th century, various Rajput dynasties ruled in India. However, even though different dynasties came to power, there was little change in the administrative system. Though kinship was hereditary, so After the king, it was the king's son who ruled over the country. So it was hereditary. It was not compulsory that the eldest son would always automatically become the next king. The heir apparent, the heir to be selected by the king, was called the crown prince. In some cases, even people and ministers elected or selected their king. For example, while in Kashmir, King Yashashkara was selected and enthroned by the Brahmin group. And for example, in Gujarat, Kumar Pal was selected as the successor by the Council of Ministers. So we can see not only the kingship was hereditary, but the Council of Ministers also elected as a successor. Now, the ministers were appointed to assist the king to administer and manage the kingdom effectively. Yet at times people were doing the administration. Now let us see the administrative system in the villages. Village institutions were very important during the medieval period. The panchayat looked after its administration. The head of the panchayat was called Mukhi or Sarpanch, and he was responsible for protecting and delivering justice to the villages. His was the final word. Still, in many cases, the Gram Sabha would also give verdict and punish culprits. Even today, at the village level, the Gram Panchayat or the elders of the Panchayat provide guidelines to the people. So at times, the ministers were appointed, and at that time land revenue was the main income of the kingdom. Each kingdom had different ways of collecting land revenue, but usually the sixth part of the cultivation was taken as the land revenue. Apart from this, other taxes were also levied on the people. Different officers were also appointed for different activities. Moreover, taxes were collected at ports and octroi points. Landlords collected the tax and paid tribute to the kings. Now, how did literature develop during the Rajput age? During the Rajput age, there was a lot of religious writing as well as literature of various kinds. Scholars and education received great patronage from kings. Many literary works were composed in Sanskrit, Prakrit, Tamil, Kannada, and Telugu. The great Sanskrit poet Magh composed the epic Shishupala Vadha. So, it was the great Sanskrit poet Magh who composed the Shishupal Vadha. This epic describes the killing of Shishupal by Lord Krishna. Similarly, another poet, Sri Harsh, wrote the epic Naishida Charitra, which is a story about Nal and Damayanti. Even songs by Radha and other gopis were sung in praise of Lord Krishna, were presented in a lyrical manner. The biography and achievement of the kings were also composed in a poetic manner. Hemachandra Acharya wrote Kumarpala and he also wrote Kumarpal Charita based on the life of the Solanki king of Gujarat. The names of King Siddharth Jai Singh and Hemachandra Acharya are associated with this book. This book was considered so important that it was placed on an elephant during a procession in Patan. So children, we have seen that how literature developed during the Rajput age. In our second part, we'll continue with the other discussion. Till then, read the chapter and go through it thoroughly. And whatever doubts, I will be solving in your live session. Thank you.